What's up, Wheel of Time nerds? This is gonna be my nascent, use a big word there, Wheel of Time video, and as you can see, it's really casually done because I'm sitting in my bed. I don't have my desk set up yet. I don't have a fancy light. I'm sure the audio on this isn't going to be particularly great, but I've got to start somewhere, and so I'm planning on doing the less literary oriented type of stuff for Podcast of the Dragon on YouTube because the Wheel of Time show is coming out, and I'm super excited for What on Prime. I think it's going to be awesome. Everything that I've seen looks like it's going to be really cool. I'm impressed, and I don't normally spend much time watching shows, no matter how cool they are. So the fact that I've got something to look forward to and really, really get into with everyone has been really neat. Um, and seeing the Wheel of Time on television is not something I ever thought that I would because it was too big. And, back in the day, people only ever had movies. You only ever made movies out of books. You never did TV shows. Um, but I'm only just now getting this YouTube thing going, the YouTubes of the Dragon. Um, and I feel like since I'm kind of late to this because I've had a lot of other adulting things weighing on me this year, um, I'm gonna have to go back and do some reaction type videos, analysis type videos of the little releases, the teasers, the dagger and Lon looking all sick as he's, you know nothing, and those kind of cool things just to express my opinions about a few things, and also just to get some content up on the YouTube channel because I've got, I got to build some stuff up. I got work to do here, but I'm gonna start with the the layout that Entertainment Weekly is putting out, all the cool pictures that everybody's freaking out on Twitter, um, where we get to see our whole cast, or at least our main cast, looking really, really cool. The one of them all just like in a row, all seven of them walking across, and it's just kind of Moraine and Lon, like even the way it like expresses itself as I go to look at it, it's sort of like Moraine and Lon are in the front, and Moraine looks like, she's not screwing around. I really like what they did with her outfit because she's just got kind of this dark blue mantle. And I noticed both with what Egwene's got going on with this other picture with her and Rand, where Rand's kind of looking at her like he thinks she's super cute, and she's got this look on her face like, I'm really glad that I got out of the Two Rivers, and Rand al'Thor's a little bit boring, and I'm super stoked that we're probably not going to get married. I mean, I'm inferring a lot from the expression on Maddie's face there. Um, but what I was talking about here was pants. Looks like she's got this skirt thing going on. Egwene's got this skirt thing going on in the picture where she's sitting here with Rand, but it looks like she's wearing pants. But I also noticed that in the picture where you see Logain and you've got Alana and Karenna, I believe is the other Aes Sedai, and they're watching him. And I think that there are two people on horseback in the background, and they could be Queen's guards, but they look like women in red. And I mean, women in red could be Queen's guards, but I wondering if they're just Red Aja. Alana's wearing green, and I believe that Karenna, if it's the Karenna from New Spring, is also a green, but I can't remember for sure. But if you look at what Alana's wearing, she's got pants on as well. So it sounds like Min is not going to be the only woman in pants in this or it's not going to be like a revolutionary thing the way that it was, where, you know, nobody but men and maidens of the spear wore pants until it became like a fashion thing in Kyrian. But the way that this particular picture that they took of the seven of them walking across this kind of beaten grass field, I love the costumes. I love the choice of how they arrayed everybody. So you got Moraine and Lon in the front. Lon looks like, you know, he's ready to fight. He's a warrior. He and Moraine are taking the lead. But Egwene is right next to Moraine. It's like Moraine's her new mentor, and she's almost right up abreast of her too. Like she's not quite, she's a little bit further back, but it's like they've given that impression of Egwene like being right there, ready to, you know, go out, make her mark on the world, and just her eagerness. And Perrin has this kind of like almost shell-shocked look on his face, or like he's really over this and it's only just begun. And I really like, you know, how Barney looks really hammered. And I don't know if this is before or after he's gotten the dagger, but they've done a good job of making him look super hammered. But I really like how they have Rand and Nynaeve on either side. It's like Nynaeve is as far as she can get from Moraine. I like how Egwene's on Moraine's other side from Nynaeve. I like that Rand and Nynaeve, who are kind of like the odd ones out in the Emmons Field Five, as far as just kind of they're both extremes, and they, you know, both end up coming together kind of at the end. So having them on the ends is just, I don't know, the whole picture says a lot, and I feel like the choice of how they arrayed the five Emmons Fielders around the two main leaders says a lot. It says a lot, and I like it. I dig it. The costumes, I love the costumes. I love the fact that Yosha's shirt is a bright teal. I think that that's great that there's some color. I love Zoe's coat dress, the sheepskin. I think the fact that they do the sheepskin stuff is so good, so appropriate to what they would have in the Two Rivers. Um, Yosha's coat is amazing. Like it really looks like the kind of thing that you would expect a shepherd to wear. Um, you know, and honestly, the fact that Perrin, Matt, and Rand are all wearing slightly different things, that kind of like, I don't know, that kind of works too. It's like everybody is wearing something slightly different, but all of it goes together as well. And it just really works. You know, and as somebody who's been reading the series since the early 90s, I had relatively strongish headcanons for how these people looked. Um, and I've noticed recently that these actors are starting to take over, at least to a certain extent, particularly for the Evans Fielders. Um, and I think that that's kind of cool. Um, these people are very believable, and I'm very excited to see them actually acting. And I think that this scene that they did with Shattered Logoth, where Lana's carrying Moraine, that's just like a little perfect thing. And Rafe said that they only have 15 minutes of footage from Shattered Logoth. So the fact that they have the budget to do that says a handful of things. First of all, it says that, you know, Jeff Bezos is disgustingly rich, which we all knew. Um, if they're allowed to spare no expense for a set that will admittedly come into play later on if they're following enough of the story. But for 15 minutes of filming, if they're allowed to put the money into building that kind of a set, maybe they'll be able to put the money into doing something like only having the Shan Chen show up for an episode or two of season 2 and then have them disappear for another season. So the last two pictures I really wanted to talk about is I already said a little bit about the pic of Loghain in the cage. I think the cage is a little weird. Like it looks, I guess, I don't know. Maybe the way that the article words it, because they give away a decent amount of stuff, but they also keep some vagary to it. So they mention that Loghain was able to, he discovered that he was magical or whatever, and decided that that meant he was going to be a king or he could be a king until the Aes Sedai or the female mystics told him otherwise. And so, which is, you get this picture of him, of Alvaro Morte looking really upset. He looks like he's not having a real great time. And it's honestly, the picture says a lot because it's sort of like Alana looks really uncomfortable and it's a weird setup. It definitely it's much more aesthetically pleasing than what is described in the books as just a great big flat bed wagon with the cage in the middle and the women just sitting on the wagon bed, because honestly that doesn't sound very realistic as something that Aes Sedai would be willing to do. Like it seems like, yeah, they'd be like, no, I want a nice chair to sit on it while I sit and hold his shield. um but the anxiety or fear or discomfort, like Alana in this picture looks really uncomfortable. She looks like she doesn't want to be there, and she looks like she wishes that there were at least 2 or 3 more carts between her and Loghain. And the cage is definitely not like it's a weird looking cage. The whole contraption with the cart or the wagon or whatever is a weird contraption, but the cage almost looks crown like in its own way. Like you tried to make yourself a king, will cage you within this crown. Um, and obviously that's because the picture doesn't show the top of it. I'm assuming it's rounded off at the top, but the way that it's cut and just it looks crown-like, and I think that this is a really good picture. And then this picture with Egwene and Rand, I feel like the pictures that they picked were really important for the spread. I mean, it was, obviously got to get a pic of the full cast, got to get a pic of some of the more minor characters, and this pic with Loghain in the cage it's evocative. I mean, he looks scary and angry and interesting, and the women look really uncomfortable, and it says a lot. There's a lot going on in even this just one still picture. And getting a picture of the dark scary murder city, and Lon having to carry Moraine, so that just, for people who don't know anything about the Wheel of Time or what's going on, it's just sort of like, well, that place looks ominous, and obviously something bad happened, because it does not look like the cover of a romance novel, or I don't know what kind of a romance novel has a guy carrying a woman up that kind of a threshold. Not so great. I think that if they do a battle before Shatter Logoth, where they've just been through the ringer and just dealt with a whole bunch of really bad stuff, this picture of the 7 of them abreast, they all look a little bit wiped out. Perrin looks like he's over it, whatever it is. Matt looks wiped out. Nynaeve looks tense. And Rand looks pretty traumatized. He looks like he's had a hard time. He already looks like he's been through some stuff. The Rand in this picture where they're all walking across the grass, I think they must be looking at the wall of Shatterlogoth and getting ready to go into the city there. Unless maybe they're looking at the gateway, I don't know. But I would think that they would have Loyal with them if they were looking at the gateway. So I think it's got to be Shatterlogoth. These all look like people who've experienced even more trauma than Winter Night. So I think this pick of Rand and Egwene has to be before whatever fight happens that drives them into Shatterlogoth. Anyway, I think that these picks are great. Um, and yeah, I'll do some more reaction videos. I'm learning how to edit right now, how to edit videos. I'm going to obviously figure out how to stick the stills in, and eventually I'll get better. I'm assuming that this particular video is going to be probably pretty terrible, but I'll just do my best and get better. And I wonder if Daniel Green's early videos end as roughly as this one's going to.